This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero. And if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to the boys.
What's up, True Heel Heat? True Heel Heat.
What's up? True Heel Heat. All hands on me.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for NXT Battleground Las Vegas preview. Breaking down this Sunday show from the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. And boy, oh boy, is it a big card with cross-promotional battles, a first-time ever NXT Championship bout, NXT Battleground, and maybe the Octagon. We will find out. We will see. But I am joined to preview this big card for this Sunday by the NXT insider himself. You read all his great reporting over at Fightful Select, the best $5 in wrestling media today. And yes, he is Ireland's own, but he is my UK brother in my heart. Corey Brennan is here.
I hate this bit. I really hate this bit. It's really becoming something like I never should have shown my nationalistic tendencies because now it's just gotten people realizing that I get really annoyed when people call me English.
You gotta rile them up. You gotta rile them up. You know, some people get under my skin in certain ways. You know how Joel and Jeremy over on Fightful, they do it is they start complimenting evil. That's how you get under my skin. If you start
Best in the world.
evil.
Best in the world.
God. Oh God! See.
Listen. I'm a massive. You know by following me, SB3. I'm a big Mox guy. You know I love Mox, but I think Mox could survive the loss. I think Evil should be the new IWGP Heavyweight Champion of the world. That's not NXT, but that's my real 100% opinion, and I will not ever compromise my opinion for a bit.
Well, you know,
I can't get through with a straight face. I can't get through with a straight face. I cannot get through saying the words "Evil should beat John Moxley" without saying a straight face. He should never beat John Moxley. He shouldn't even be wrestling John Moxley. But Guido, that's just what Guido does. So.
This is the life we live. But I am so happy to have Corey back on. We talked about the last NXT Premium Live event. You were on the preview for that. We were trying to get you on last week's True Heel Heat, but we have Sat Nyangi, and that always goes wrong if we have other guests. When Sat is on, it never works out, it seems.
Yeah.
But I am glad you were here to talk about NXT Battleground. It's a very exciting time to be a fan of NXT. So how excited are you for this Sunday show?
I'm really excited, and this is the thing. Like I said it to when we did the last one. I didn't used to be a fan of them. Even when I started doing inside reporting on it, at that point in time, I wasn't a big fan of it. And people would be like, "Oh, you're only liking it because you're reporting on it now." And like, I genuinely think the product is at its best it's been since Black and Gold days, and I think this is a testament to that. I think it's an awful venue. I don't like the venue. I'll rant about the venue all day, but the card itself, I'm looking forward to. What I'm not looking forward to is not being able to hear the crowd at all because the venue is that goddamn bad for fan participation. But I digress, as Taz would say.
Digress Jones. You digress Jones. That's what Dad's been saying. Thank you, Corey, for joining us today. And thank you all if you're watching us live, if you're watching us on demand. We appreciate the support. We appreciate you watching. The simplest way you could show your appreciation back, just drop the thumbs up on this video. If you're watching us on YouTube, you could drop a thumbs up, a heart emoji, an angry emoji, a laughing emoji. However, NXT Battleground is making you feel ahead of this Sunday show. You could do it with the emotes over on Facebook. If you're watching us on Twitter, retweet the video. That's the best thing that you can do. But most of all, if you're watching on any of the platforms, we want you to sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you, hear your thoughts on the build up and your predictions for this Sunday show, NXT Battleground. If you're watching us on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. We're still celebrating our 15K milestone that we hit last weekend and celebrating it with this NXT Battleground preview. We'll have more content because my dumbass deleted some videos off the YouTube. So we'll do some re-uploads to this weekend of stuff from Memorial Day weekend, because you should not be deleting stuff off of StreamYard at 1:30 a.m. in the UK, where we both are, right? Yeah.
That's my answer to that. But my
finger. I was looking for a finger to match mine.
You say that 1:30 is bad, and here's what I have to raise you last night. I was on the Fightful StreamYard because I have access that Kate still really is annoyed about. But Sean said to me at some point yesterday, he was like, when you're finished with interviews, can you just delete them off StreamYard? And I was like, okay. So then I forgot to do it during the day, and then after not after Dynamite, last night before I went to bed, it was something like 2:30 a.m. and I was like, shit, I forgot. So I got up and I did it. Luckily, I didn't make any mistakes that I wasn't supposed to. But I'm a professional, completely professional, as everyone who follows me knows. But 2:30 beats 1:30, bitch.
Well, I was on Fightful's main channel at 2:30 a.m. here, talking about Ring of Honor. But really, I was just popping Kate with my list of the top 5 Nigel McGuinness rivals in Ring of Honor history, because that's what Ring of Honor TV reviews are now on Fightful.
Not the worst thing in the world. You want to? Hey, I'm all for anything to do with Nigel. Usually it's the commentary that gets me, but hey, his wrestling's pretty good too.
Yes. That's the next one. Best Nigel McGuinness calls on commentary. That's the next one that I'll do. Yes. But we got a bunch of people joining us in the chat today, like Eric Isaacs, who says, "Hey fellas, can't wait for Sunday. We might see some big surprises in this show, especially TNA talent outside of Grace. I know you can't give us any top secret reporting, but what do you say? 0 to 100%. What is the percentage of some TNA talent popping up as a surprise at Battleground?"
In my today, I'd say there's probably a solid 50%. Like, honestly, I wouldn't go higher or lower on that because genuinely I don't know. But based off what I've heard, just based off the fact that people are constantly tweeting about it, Joe Hendry managed to send everyone into raptures on Tuesday just by retweeting a Triple H tweet. So TNA wise, I think we could see maybe 1 or 2 at guess, but at the same time, I don't want to give any more than 50% because truthfully, I don't know.
Yeah, I would love if someone the backstage segment and they just say his name, and then he say his name and
Edris Enofe and Malik Blade, and Edris Enofe and Malik Blade just backstage. Not even they could go full into it, do it in a mirror and play it off like they're doing Bloody Mary or something. And because those two dudes are so good comedically wise, I'm just imagining, right? Mirror in front of them. They say his name 3 times. Joe just slides into frame behind them. And then 2 very loud, very girlish screams. And that's the entire segment. That is all Joe Hendry does on the entire show. Just pops up in a Bloody Mary style segment. And then have Brindley perhaps walk in after they scream again because, obviously they're on edge. You just let Joe Hendry appear out of nowhere. and then ask who's there, and then Malik maybe goes to say his name. Edge silences him. The end segment. That's all I want.
Yes.
That's all I want out of a Joe Hendry appearance. That's all I want. Just something so silly and nonsensical. And then let them go on Battleground. Or not Battleground, Clash at the Castle next week, because they're in Scotland. Introduce them on NXT in a silly little segment that'll go viral, because that would 100% go viral, as we've learned, but with Joe Hendry. So yeah, I think he could very well be on Clash, to be honest. If he shows up on NXT, I would put a good bit of money on him being on Clash, because that would be a very good way for them to set it up. But outside of that, I don't know about other TNA talent, but I think Joe Hendry at some point definitely will be. Like, you just look like Brooks Jensen's video with Joe Hendry in the background. They're paying attention. The talent are hearing about it. And to be honest, when I've asked NXT talent about it, Joe Hendry is the guy that comes up the most.
Yeah. Definitely, man. He's just so he's so talented, so creative. Always love having Joe Hendry around. So that's the person I most want to see on NXT television for sure. We got Nikki Boy in the chat saying, "What's up, my good brothers? Gotta say, this is the most hype I've been going into an NXT PLE in a long time. I know you, Corey, you say you were excited for Stand and Deliver the last time you joined us for our preview. Is this more or less than Stand and Deliver, your hype?"
See, at the time when we were recording the Stand and Deliver, it was right after I'd heard that Julia was going to be present at Stand and Deliver. So I couldn't say anything when we were recording, but I was so excited for that. I'd already heard that they were going to do. I think I actually said it on the podcast that they were going to do a crowd shot, but there was I couldn't confirm that was going to be her. So would I say it's more exciting in general? I wouldn't say it's more exciting for me this time in general, but with the card, take out that element to it and my hype for Julia being on it, I would say that based on the card and what we know, I'd say it's about equal. Maybe even a little bit more this time around, obviously with Ethan Page being there. The underground match is something I'm very much looking forward to.
Yeah, I would say I'm actually more because of the result. I'm very interested in the results of the NXT Championship match and NXT Women's Championship matches. And I feel like those two top matches are more unpredictable than any of the matches at Stand and Deliver. I pretty much called I think we both called top to bottom most of the results of Stand and Deliver. With this one, I'm very interested to hear what you think for the top two matches on this one. But we also got Myron Kidd, who says, "I don't like it that this PLE is at the UFC Apex. That's a small venue for an event like this. And they still haven't sold out all the tickets. And it's like because people don't want to go there."
It's a terrible venue. It's an absolutely dreadful venue. Any UFC fans who've watched an Apex show know how dreadful it is, not only for fans but also as to shoot in the Apex. It's not. The lighting isn't great. Obviously WWE are going to bring their own lighting in, and obviously they're a lot better at that stuff than the UFC. We'll be honest about that. But it's not a good venue. It's really not. And the minute I heard even the whispers, like obviously I heard when WrestleVotes reported it, I started digging into it, and everyone that I talked to couldn't understand it. Talent, production, especially sources that I spoke to were just like our work's going to be cut out for us here. It's not a fun venue to shoot in. They just because they haven't done it before doesn't mean that they haven't heard from people who have done it before. So and Nikki Boy just mentioned there, I'm very curious to see how they're going to pull off a ladder match in the Apex. That's not my worry. That's not my worry at all. My worry is the fact that you see on the Apex, on the UFC events, they have the UFC cameras up top for the look down shots. So I think that's not going to be an issue. But I also do think that I don't understand changing it. It must have been the only reason that I can see that they would have done this is that it's cost saving because the UFC is under TKO banner. they wanted the UFC's interaction, because I've heard of a couple of names who were supposed to be there on the UFC Performance Institute staff, and I'll talk about that when we're talking about the NXT Underground match, because I'm probably going to put a report together on that in a couple of days. But for now, anyway, I've heard of a couple of names, but it's just not a good venue, man. I cannot say that enough. I see people like saying, "Oh, it's not that bad." It is that bad.
Yeah, because this event was I think it was scheduled for Double or Nothing, King and Queen of the Ring weekend, and then they switched it up to the UFC. And I thought the same thing as you. I was like, yeah, this is a cost saving thing. It's going to cost them less to film it there. But I have not heard from all the MMA fans, all the UFC fans, that never good things about that arena at all.
And it's just like it's such a like aired out, like there's so much open space. Like you see the PC crowd. That's a great example of how to cram in a small crowd into a venue and keep it not echoing and not having like crowds being drowned out, because there's not enough air there's too much air in the room to really carry. So like you hear on the Apex show, you hear a couple of chants breaking out in the crowd during a UFC show, and you can't understand what they're saying. And I get MMA, you don't get as many chants, but then you go to the MGM Grand for a pay-per-view, and then there's some guy in the 15th row goes, "Twist his dick," and you can hear it. So, like, if you're an MMA fan, you know, any MMA fans who are watching this will know I am not exaggerating.
Yeah, that's all I've heard.
I'm not even that passionate about this venue, but I'll come across it because I just can't stand it, man.
Well, we do have our first super chat donation. Thank you, as always, Will Chisholm, the GOAT, who's always delivering for us with those super chat donations. Appreciate it. He says, with this TNA and NXT thing going on, I saw the interview with Rossy saying that he talked to Triple H saying that he should leave Stardom. And he said Triple H gave him the support he needed to make that push to make Marigold. I'm like, you like Kevin Nash. Y'all can't hold water, LOL. I was like, yo, you dead ass told on him. Why you told on him for?
And like that feels like there has to be something that Stardom are going to look at that. Someone in Stardom's going to look at that and think, "Thanks for the lawsuit, Rossy," or something. There's going to be something that's going to come of that. There's no way that Stardom are going to sit there and go, the WWE guy basically convinced him to leave. Well, there's something's going to come for that. They're going to remember that, like. And I get it. Stardom are working with AEW now. There's pretty much zero chance of Stardom talent being offered to NXT with all these relationships anyway. But that pretty much nukes any chance of that, in my opinion. Even if working with Marigold didn't before that, Rossy saying that, and I have to imagine Triple H is sitting in his office and someone just comes in and says, "Rossy said something again," and he just like,
yeah, man.
This goddamn motherfucker won't keep his mouth shut.
And then he gets a text from Oscar like, "Told you."
Oscar's in her hospital bed just scrolling through after getting surgery. She's still on anesthetic. Ha ha!
Yo, seriously.
That's probably all she's done in hospital. Probably just laughed about that kind of shit. And I just want to say, I'm sending all the love in the world to Oscar, because I just can't wait for her to be back. Just now that we mentioned her, I just wanted to say that. But yeah,
absolutely.
that Triple H is probably isn't happy with Rossy with all the stuff he keeps talking about.
He like, just shut up and make wrestling. Just don't talk.
That's all you gotta do. I'll do the rest. You just make some decent wrestlers, right? And just let me use some of them, and I'll give you some of mine, and we'll all benefit. They won't all benefit.
He's like, now you're only gonna get Kyrie. No EO for you, Rossy. There you go. He's like, oh damn, messed it up for us. Shut my ass up.
While we're on this topic, I think it's very funny, and this is something that I've been asked before by people. People are like, "Is there any chance of Asuka showing up in Marigold?" And when people say that to me, it's just like, I'm just not going to bother answering your question, because that is just the worst question. they had a photo together at the Hall of Fame, and I don't know if you've seen it, but it's with the Joshies, and it's like Bull Nakano on one side, Rossy on the other, and it's like all the Joshies are in the middle, and then there's Oscar beside Bull, and the complete opposite of Rossy, and people are like, see, they took a photo together, and it's just like they couldn't be further away from each other in the photo if they tried. But okay, guys. They did it for Bull Nakano's sake. No other reason, man. Come on.
Bull was like, can you just please get in the photo? I promise he'll be on the other side. He'll be on the other side.
Meanwhile, the rest of the night, Oscar was probably standing in the corner just giving Rossy the death glare the whole night. Yeah.
She's like, I don't like him.
Oscar was probably thinking in her head that she wished she had her clown makeup on at the time so she could just look even more menacing.
Rossy wouldn't have showed up. It's a wrap. But let's actually get
let's actually talk about NXT. We're going the in the weeds route of we're supposed to be talking about one thing and we're just talking about nothing to do with it whatsoever.
Oh, trust me, man. AE Ramble. We spent like 40 minutes just talking about people's chats and BSing. We did that yesterday, so they're used to this here. But let's get into the card for NXT Battleground. You talked about it, and I think that this should probably be the opening matchup for the show because you kind of have to get the ropes off. And I don't know if you want to do that in the middle of the show. Best to do it at the start of the show then. So we got Lola Vice going one-on-one with Shayna Baszler in NXT Underground. No ropes. Winner can only happen by tap out or pass out. Referee stoppage. It's Lola Vice and Shayna Baszler, the former tag team partners. Shayna Baszler made her return to NXT to be in Lola Vice's corner for the last NXT Underground matchup against Natalya, where Lola Vice got the win thanks to Shayna Baszler's distraction on the outside, choking out Carmen Petrovic. That led to a tag team matchup between all four ladies where Carmen and Natalya picked up the victory, which led to Lola turning her back on Shayna Baszler, laying her out with a kick to the head. But Shayna Baszler is like the boogeyman, just got her ass up, started choking out Lola Vice, leading to a big pull-apart brawl between the former MMA fighters. And it was Ava who came out to make this matchup for Battleground, but it was Shayna Baszler who said she wanted NXT Underground here at the Apex. We've heard from you guys over at Fightful Select, like once again, the best $5 in the wrestling game, that there has been discussions about this happening in the USC Octagon. I was surprised that this past week they didn't just announce that because I think that's more of a draw than even doing it the NXT Underground way, putting it in the Octagon, especially because it's in the Apex. Hopefully, maybe they make the announcement over the weekend. They did that with the King and the Queen of the Ring tournament, so maybe they do that here. But what do you think about the build-up to this matchup, and who do you think wins?
I think the build to this match has been kind of almost like a fever dream. Because it's literally the whole reason this match is happening is because Shayna doesn't like that Lola shakes her ass. That's the entire build. That's the entire reasoning for this match happening. They literally went from tag partners who both respected the fact that they were killers. Literally, they walked out in their geese together, which I also liked. But then it became a thing of Shayna just was trying to get Lola to be more serious, which again, there's nothing wrong with that, as like Shayna's more experienced. It's cool. And Lola responded the way she did. Yeah, it's a good story to get to it, but it really does feel like a fever dream. That the whole reason that this NXT Underground match, this blow-off match in NXT that has been used for some like really personal feuds over the years, is being held because Lola Vice can't stop shaking her ass. That's the entire reasoning. And
literally the promo on Tuesday was, I'm going to beat her and then I'm going to shake my ass.
Booker T's probably going to have a goddamn stroke at ringside if that happens. But like, it's just, I do, and again, I full faith that this match is going to be really fun. I think this match is going to be so much better than that match we had at SummerSlam between Ronda and Shayna. I think that match is one of the worst produced matches in recent years in WWE. They tried to do something and they didn't do it well. But we've seen with Lola's Underground match with Natalya that was very well done. Mainly because Natalya has legit grappling. Like it may look to you like to you and I like she's just doing normal wrestling, but she's really got good, solid, realistic looking grappling. Like, and that carries over when you've got someone like Lola who's really good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And the thing is, that's the thing as well. They are both Lola and Shayna are both jiu-jitsu base, so I think that's what we're going to see a lot of in this match. We're going to see a lot of like scrambles and submissions and just genuine sweeps and stuff, and I love seeing that shit in wrestling. I love it so much. I love when Jon Moxley starts doing like transitions that are legit grappling transitions, and I think that's what was missing from that match with Ronda. It felt very much that they were doing a kickboxing match with a little bit of judo. That's what that felt like. So I think the reason that we've got this match the way we've got here has been a little bit silly, but I think it makes a lot of sense given Shayna's character work and Lola's character work. Like Lola from day one has been this way. She's been very clear that like that like her whole catchphrase is that she's going to knock you out and then she's going to shake her ass. That's literally her whole thing. So fair enough. Whatever sells, it works.
The fists don't lie and the hips don't lie.
Yeah, like whatever, it works. She's getting over with it. Gooners are loving it. Whatever. But that's the thing as well. She can go in the ring, and I do appreciate that about her. A lot of people like her would coast. They would genuinely coast on their MMA background and on her looks. But she is genuinely transitioning to wrestling very well, and that was shown in the Natalya match. So I think we're going to see maybe a combination of, honestly, I can't remember, what did they call it? The fight pit. We're going to see a lot of something like that mixed with an underground match if they decide to do it. Now, what I've been told about the cage is that it's basically, it's very hard. They can't fit the cage and the ring into the same room with the way they've set up for the crowd. That's the issue. But here's my counterpoint to that, and I haven't said this to anyone, and I didn't want to because obviously they've thought of it, but there is a UFC octagon that would be on the floor above where they have the events for sparring purposes and for training purposes. Like the Performance Institute at the end of the day is a training. So if you really wanted to, if they really want to, I don't know how this would work legally, and I'm probably going to will ask about this because I'm curious myself. Like I said, you could, and the thing is, this would be really cool because it would really also add to the underground part of the match, because as you see, when the underground match is happening, what's happening? There's people around the ring. It's very much like a Fight Club feel. So if you could bring the fans up to that room, set it up, try and make it in a way that you could have them surround the octagon and then do it. Obviously, an octagon isn't the same as a wrestling ring. It hasn't got as much give. But we're talking about two MMA fighters. We're talking about two women who are more than used to taking hits and landings in an octagon. So if you're ever going to do it, these are the two women to do it with. As far as who I think, if it's going to happen, I don't think that, for legal reasons, I don't think that could happen. I think legally that would be the issue there. But logistically wise, I don't think they haven't really been able to. When the pitch was made, I think they did think about it, but I don't think logistically it can work based off what I've asked, production wise and so on. It would just take too long to put up the cage and take it down again if you want, and the ring and so on. As you said, it might open the show because you have to take the ring out, but again, the counter attack is a good main event for that reason as well. But again, taking the ring posts and the ropes down isn't as hard as reconstructing an entire ring. Yeah. So I can imagine that this could go anywhere. To be honest, with Sexy Red being on the card as well, they could easily do it where she does her performance, and while she's doing her performance, they take the ring down, and that's how they do it. But logistically wise, I would say now, I'd say it's very unlikely that happens. I'd love for it to happen as an MMA fan. I would absolutely love to see it. And I imagine Lola and Shayna would be able to take it to the extra level in a cage. But regardless, I'm looking forward to this match because I think it's really been something that we've been missing in the underground match. Two actual legit MMA fighters. And that's the thing. Whatever way you want to think about either of these women, they are legit killers, and they could whoop the ass of 99% of the women's roster, like if they wanted to. And it's the thing as well. And I do want to say this as well. And Sean's mentioned this on podcasts as well, and I've heard it as well, but I've heard it for not just Lola, but for Carmen Petrovich. people have said some things about Julia and how she's too stiff and so on and so forth. But when I brought those up, the counterpoint that's been made to me is she can try with Lola Vice, she can try with Carmen Petrovich, but that's not going to end well. That's what I've been told. So there's no concern whatsoever about that. I want to say that as well. There's no concern about Julia being too stiff because, well, she can be as stiff as she likes. If she tries to stiff an MMA fighter, it's not going to end well for her. But yeah, in terms of this match, I hope Lola does win. I think a lot of people want Shayna to win this because they think that it would be this like rebirth of the Queen of Spades, like she said on Tuesday. But that's just the thing. NXT, what happens on NXT and what happens on main roster TV is not canon. It's not canon to the same stuff unless they actually bother to mention it. If they don't mention it, it's not canon. End of. We got Natalya after her match kind of like addressing what Sonya said. But unless they mention it, it don't matter. If Shayna could go in there and knock Lola out in like spectacular, like with spinning back fist or something just to prove a point, and it could go viral. And then we get to Monday on Raw and Shayna would still be sitting there with Zoe going, I don't know why I'm not being booked better or whatever. Like whatever like stuff they say in these segments nowadays. I don't know. Before Sonya Deville walks up and goes, why would, like, this is the thing. She could win that match and Sonya Deville would still walk up to her and go, why aren't you winning at all?
Why aren't you winning? Respect?
And Shane is sitting there like, I won last night. What are you talking about?
Like, give me my respect. I totally agree with you, though. Yeah, like, it's not going to be the rebirth of the Queen of Spades on main roster television because it's not happening on main roster television. I agree with you 100%. I think Lola Vice gets the win. And like I said before, I think she's someone that you build this women's division around because you got her over from the MMA world. You're using her in a big way, having her defeat the longest, tenured NXT Women's Champion of all time, the woman that has held it the most days in Shayna Baszler. That's the biggest win of her career outside of the breakout tournament win that she got last year. This is a big time matchup for Lola Vice, and I think that she gets the W. We got here a super chat donation from Chuck Berries. Thank you for joining us, Chuck Berries, who agrees with both of us, saying that Lola Vice wins and has a twerk off with Sexy Red.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if they did that. If they decided to put Sexy Red, whatever she's doing, right after that match. Because realistically, if she's having a performance, it's better for her to do a performance in a ring without ropes and so on. So it's possible. Booker T would probably need a stretcher, but like,
or you have Sexy Red, like you do it by rounds. They do it by rounds and have Sexy Red be the
Heritage Cup.
Yeah. Have a Heritage Cup meets NXT Underground and just have Sexy Red with the sign saying round 2.
And I reported this earlier this week on Select that there is expected to be a heavy UFC presence at the Institute. And obviously there's going to be. I think there's going to be a couple of involvement in this match. Not just at ringside for the match. I think there's going to be the likes of like Forrest Griffin's going to be there. Forrest Griffin was actually, I didn't know about this. I completely forgot about this. But Forrest was actually involved in a live event segment in December. I can't remember who it was with. But he was at a WWE live event and he did a segment where he got chased out of the arena because it was a bit. I don't know how much you know about UFC, but in Forrest Griffin's fight with Tito Ortiz, he hated how he performed so bad that he ran to the back after the fight, and it's one of the like most weirdest moments in UFC. But I think they could run that back, to be honest, and do something silly with that, because Forrest loves doing silly stuff like that. So I imagine he'll be part of it. Josh Barnett I think is a good bet. I haven't heard if he's going to be at it. Now, I want to say that I haven't heard any names now other than that it's going to be a heavy involvement, but these are just people that make sense to me. Josh is probably going to walk Shayna out and probably be in her corner. I would be very surprised if Josh wasn't in her corner because Josh has trained her in MMA and helped her with wrestling so much. And Josh obviously isn't signed anywhere wrestling-wise. He did Bloodsport, brought Shayna in for that. So Josh, I think, is a pretty good bet. And for Lola, I think her sister is actually a good bet to be in her corner. Okay. Even if they don't even mention her more than once, just to have her there, because people have been asking me, has she been signed? Because she's been training with Lola in the ring. I don't know. I honestly don't know. She could have been secretly signed, but I haven't heard anything. So I think she'd probably be in Lola's corner. And they do that with underground matches usually. Usually they have seconds, so I wouldn't be surprised, given that it's in the Apex, if they do like that's the thing as well. They're in the Apex, they can do this big deal of their walkouts and everything, where they set it up where it's not like the tradition. They could have the WWE stage, and then for the underground match, they could walk out the usual UFC entrance.
Yeah.
And that'd be cool. I think that'd be cool, flanked with who's
so
cornering them. And I think the fact that Daniel Cormier has not been brought in for this is the biggest load of shite I've ever seen.
You gotta have him on commentary.
He would be him and Booker T with Vic Joseph in the middle. I would genuinely pay so much money to see that. It would be hilarious. I imagine DC and Booker would get along fantastically, and poor Vic would be in the middle. I think DC would jump on this. Even on last UFC event, he was talking about it. They talked about Battleground, and DC was like, no one's invited me to that. No, I want to go to that. He was like, genuinely. And John Anik was like, calm down, DC. It's okay. It's okay. And Joe Rogan just sitting there snickering to himself because he loves when DC goes off. But like, I'd love to see DC on commentary for that. I would love it so much. And I guarantee you, not a single person would not want him back after that, because he's such a good commentator, man. And I feel like if you're not going to have him, you got to get someone on commentary for who understands MMA. Like, I get Booker and Vic will do their best. Booker will be probably talking about twerking more than anything else, but Vic will try his best.
Yes, Vic. I was like, when you said, "Oh, they will try their best," I was like, one of those will try their best.
Booker will be talking about how dangerous everything is, while Vic's trying to explain the intricacies.
Oh, baby, chucky, duck, quack.
I'm sorry, but I have to say this as well while we're on the topic of Booker. On Tuesday's show, when he asked for a shucky ducky quack quack from the crowd, all 6 women in the ring broke at the exact same time. Poor Jada fucking just went like this, because she of all people was the one who shouldn't be laughing. But I'm starting to come around on Booker in a lot of ways. I still think he should stop trying to, start shit with CM Punk and so on. But I'm coming around to his commentary, and I think this will be one of those times where I'm just trying to take the match seriously. Vic's doing a great job. I'm just going to keep laughing because Booker keeps saying the most random ass stuff that makes no sense. But I am looking forward to this match, and I do hope we get someone fun on commentary though, because even if it's not DC, just you're going to be at the performance.
Even Barnett has experience. If he walks Shayna out, and then he can join the commentary team.
But this is the thing: you're going to be at the Performance Institute. You're going to have access to all these people that train there, who do the training there, who work there. Like I said, Forrest Griffin is pretty much he practically runs that place, by my understanding. So if he's not on the show, I'd be surprised, given that he has history with doing stuff with WWE.
Yeah.
Past that, that's the thing as well. There's a couple of fighters who are like big wrestling fans, and Dana even said, like, at the actual last Apex show, he said, "Oh, if anyone wants to go and do that, I won't stop them." So if I'm WWE, I'm asking anyone that that's a wrestling fan, because that's the way at UFC events they go around the crowd.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that, but they do it at Battleground, and just have some fun with it, and actually play more into it. They've done a good job of playing into the fact the UFC part with it. So I am looking forward to this match. I'm looking forward to the card as a whole, and I would like to see a couple of fighters, a couple of coaches and all that, a couple of just MMA personalities kind of just stretched out throughout the show, not even just at that match, but yeah, I am really looking forward to this match, and I do think Lola and Shayna are going to kill it.
I agree with you 100%. We got another super chat donation from Will Chisholm. Thank you once again. He says, to be fair, Lola did that before coming to WWE with the twerking. Yeah, it's just something that just
she did it in her MMA career. Yeah, she did that. She literally won by knockout and twerked over. Not too far away from the unconscious person that she just knocked out. So she's not lying. She's not lying. Nothing about her gimmick is lying. So, hey,
Yeah, 100%. 100% agree. We got Around the Point Network, our good fellas over there, who says Daniel Cormier would be a perfect fit. Yeah. Once you said DC, I was like, yeah, put him on commentary. That's much better than him
Do it for
refereeing
free.
this.
He
Don't have him referee this like he did the Fight Pit.
Oh my God.
Extreme Rules 2022.
That was still the funniest thing ever because DC was a good bit short in both of them. But anytime he had to do the pull away, he just ragged all those poor fuckers. Just get your ass over here. I use the heavyweight champion. You ain't doing shit without me refereeing. I just want more DC in wrestling. I love DC. I think DC is one of the most wholesomest mother truckers, because I'm for DC's sake, I'm going to say that. in the world, he loves wrestling. He loves WWE. Everyone's seen how he reacted when Seth cashed in Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 32. For God's sake,
Yeah,
that man was the happiest man in that stadium. For God's sake, but that's my real wish list thing for WWE as a whole. This is probably my biggest wish in WWE in general. Work with Daniel Cormier more. For God's sake, man. He would probably do most of it
when they were
free.
teasing that he was going to be the commentator when they moved to Fox. I still remember that 5 years ago.
I was so upset when he didn't. I read that report. I think that was before I was in media. I think it was. When was that?
2019 was when they went to Fox.
So that was before I got into media. So even before that, I read the reports and everything, and I was just like, oh, come on, please just pay the man and get him in. And I was kind of disappointed because I didn't want them to leave MMA in general, and not do it. But given that TKO now own both of them, who gives a shit?
Come on, you're all in the same company. But I'm very much looking forward to NXT Underground, and you got me more excited talking about it right there. But we're going to go into the other matches on the card for the NXT Tag Team Championship.
Oh, baby.
You got Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, the OC, challenging the champions Axiom and Nathan Frazier. OC have been targeting the NXT Tag Team Championships since arriving in NXT all the way back before, I believe, Stand and Deliver. They were aiming after those tag team titles. Axiom and Nathan Frazier were the team that dethroned the Wolf Dogs following WrestleMania weekend. They picked up the win finally over Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. They've been defending the titles against the likes of the D'Angelo family and whatnot, but kind of been avoiding the OC, saying that the OC haven't earned their opportunity. So it took a series of attacks by the OC to get their attention, including this past week on NXT, where they jumped them when they were working the merchandise table outside of the Performance Center before the show. And now we got this big tag team matchup. I think this could be the OC's best WWE tag team matchup, because Axiom and Nathan Frazier feel like the remnants, the only great workers left after the draft that was still on NXT, because they took Dragunov, they took Carmelo. I think Axiom and Nathan Frazier were right in line with those type of guys, and they're still on the NXT brand. So I'm going with them to retain here. Who do you think?
See, what you just said there, I would agree with it, but post-draft, we had a couple of shake-ups that I think I disagree with you. I'll talk about that a bit later, because one of those people's on this card, and I'm going to throw it right in your face for saying that. But anyway, we'll get to the tag team match. The OC in general in WWE for me have been, let's say, not a letdown, but I feel like they could have done more. They could have always done more. They've been multi-time tag champs, and I still feel they could do more. They've always felt like backup dancers. I'm going to use that phrase for AJ. And
I love that backup. AJ style is Gladys Knight, and they're the pimps.
Pretty much. You see, you're laughing, and even when they weren't for AJ, they decided, you know what? We're not going to be our own guys. Hey, Finn. That's basically what happened. That's literally, they were like, all right, we're going to split the club. Balor Club. That's what we're going to do. Genius.
And then when they left WWE, it looked like they were going to get their run on their own in TNA. But no, TNA was working with AEW, so they went to Kenny Omega. And they came in.
Like he did that one time. What's up, boys? Heard you wanted to be on your own. Shame. I'd like you to introduce you to my new man who likes to, ruin everything. Mr. Don Callis. He thinks it would be genius to have you.
Be my backup dancers. Why not? No, you will be my backup dancers because I have the Young Bucks too. So you can be behind the. Lovely.
But yeah, I agree with you in the fact that this could be that kind of moment where everyone remembers, okay, they really are really fucking good when they get the chance. I feel like they still haven't got the chance in the main roster to do that. But like you said, Fraser and Axiom. I mean, like Axiom's probably the best like European worker since that A-Kid guy.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to him.
I don't know. Fraser's too freaking fast for everyone, as I reported a while ago. That's something that I still get told, by the way. That's something that I still get told. I just don't report it again. People still that still comes up whenever Fraser's in the ring. People are just like, oh my god, like the people are like, here we go again. It was the same thing with Braun when he started running. My fucking hair started looking like a goddamn douchebag with my hair twisted up like the Fonz or whatever. But yeah, I Fraser is just you can tell how influential Seth Rollins has always been in Nathan Fraser. Even in his promos lately, you can see Seth he's Seth with a British accent.
He is.
I love him. He's awesome. He is so awesome. But it's so hard for me to separate him from Seth, and it's the team in general. And I said this when we were talking about it at Stand Deliver. I was like, these guys are the guys that hold those belts for a long time and really bring that division back to what it used to be, because they're just that good. And they've been doing that. Every match they've had for those belts has been awesome. The fact that they've really started to click as well as a tag team. They've always been good as a tag team. But since they won the belts, I feel like they've even more so. Like the golden ratio into Fraser doing a Phoenix Splash is awesome, and they nail it every time. The minute the opponent drops, Fraser's already in the air. It's crazy to me how in sync they are. And again, their promo work. The bit of Axiom not knowing who A-Kid is my favorite bit in wrestling right now. Mainly because how he does it. Because it's just like, even though he's wearing a mask, you can almost see the who's that? Who's A-Kid? Who's A-Kid?
Who's that?
Oh, and I love it. And every time that like, even with the Heritage Club segment, it's like A-Kid. I wonder whatever happened to that guy.
They literally always do segments with them whoever is holding the Heritage Cup to just do the bit.
Yeah, and listen, these bits get really bad sometimes, right? We can all agree, but I think this is a El Generico level bit. In terms of, it's the same kind of bit and it's the same silly, and everyone's doing it now, which I love as well. Everyone's doing it. Commentary's doing it. Other wrestlers are doing it. I think Sean's even done it at one point. Like, so I love it. I love everything that Fraser and Axiom are. I love they remind me so much Paul London and Brian Kendrick. That's what they remind me of back in the early 2000s when they were just carrying the SmackDown tag team scene. That's how good they are to me. They're on that level to me already in ring and on just being fun. When they go up to the main roster, they need to be together. They need to be together at first.
I was gonna say even more of a further compliment. Like you said, they form more of a team since becoming champions, that they feel more akin to the Motor City Machine Guns. Like they're starting to get on that level.
They have this chemistry about the way they work together, and it's very rare in these days when a new tag team just gets. It felt like they were almost thrown together randomly, but then they really started to get this chemistry, and that's the thing. People forget they haven't been teaming long. They have not been teaming long. Like if you compare the OC, how long Gallows and Anderson have been teaming together, practically their whole careers at this point. Well, mine's Festus, but we don't talk about Festus.
That was a different time.
Different guy. We'll do the Axiom guy. Different guy. He's probably in a rubber room.
No. It's the same guy because he was CM Punk helped him get rehab.
Oh yes. I always forget that there's so many like canonical reasons for gimmick changes that make all the sense in the goddamn world. That's one of them. But that's the thing. That's the thing about Axiom as well. There's very few wrestlers with masks who have their entire face covered, no eyes, no mouth. You can't see any of their facial expressions, right? We know this. It's very rare. It's such a big part of a luchador to be able to see their eyes, see their mouth, because that's how you can't see the rest of their face. So it's so important to their most. But Axiom's body language in the ring and in segments, you can tell what he's feeling. You can tell what he wants to convey. And that's something that I think goes under the radar so much when people talk about NXT or Axiom and Fraser in general. Axiom is really, really, really good at this. Like when you think about people who didn't have masks, who kind of like fell short. Like look at Mystico, for example. Mystico had the Sin Cara mask. You couldn't see his face. You couldn't see anything to do with him. But you look at his mask now. He has the eye holes. He has proper eye holes where you can see his eyes. He wears contacts, I believe, as well to accentuate his eyes. That's something that is such an important part of just luchador, of lucha libre in general, being able to use your eyes and your mouth. And sometimes you don't even have your mouth. Some of them don't even have their mouth visible, but their eyes. Axiom doesn't have that, and so he's operating, and that's his decision. That's his design on the mask. So he has the confidence to portray it through his body language, and I see that in every match he's in. His urgency, his like when you see him like look to Fraser, like he'll point or he'll do something because you can't see his eyes. You don't know if he's actually looking to him or if he's like it's. I just wanted to say that because I don't think anyone ever actually really talks about that.
Yeah.
Of course,
he's gotten a lot better with the uses of his like body language.
Yeah,
and it took some time, but he's really at a great level right now.
I think he's genuinely one of the better masked wrestlers around. And this is the thing, they tried to do that with scripts. They really did try to have a masked NXT star with scripts, and I think that wasn't script's fault. I think they just really didn't help him with the mask and the gear that he had. And the presentation by the Axiom's presentation, they did the math thing, and then they decided that that we put that in the background. That's still a part of his gimmick now, but it's more the fact that him and Fraser are super speedy boys. That's the gimmick, and I'm
never slow down.
That's it, and I love their entrance, man. I love their entrance so much. The combination of their themes, the combination of their whole presentations, it's so good. I really want them to win this match. I don't think the OC should win the NXT tag titles. I really don't think they should. I love that they're there, and they love being there. So if they did, I wouldn't have minded. I won't mind.
I don't think now is the time. Like if they weren't already involved in a storyline on SmackDown like they were last week with the AJ fake retirement, then I would have said, you probably put the title on the OC for a little while to give it back to Axiom and Nathan Frazier because they're probably better off, the speedy baby faces in the chase position. But now's not the time because it seems like the OC's focus is going to be back on SmackDown.
It's the same thing with Meech and Lair. Like it feels like that they're going to be dragged back to the main roster by main roster creative. And at the end of the day, they are main roster talents, so we can't be surprised when that happens. I'd love to see Meech and have an extended run on NXT. I think she'd be absolutely incredible. But again, she's been on SmackDown quite a bit actually. She was in Saudi. They brought her to Saudi and everything, so they clearly have more plans for her. But when it comes to the OC, again, like people, like at one point in time, they were pretty much one of the best tag teams on the planet. They were signed to WWE and they were immediately brought to the main roster for a reason. They were just that good at that time. I don't think they still have that. I really don't. I'd love to be wrong. I would absolutely love for Sunday, that tag team match to steal the show. I love tag team wrestling. I said this last time. I said before Wolf Dogs and the Speedy Boys. I said it. I said that I love tag team wrestling. I love that this is what NXT are doing. NXT tag team wrestling is back, motherfucker. That's what I said. So I want to see more of that. But I would like to, but I really don't want them to win the titles. I'd love to see. I really want to see Axiom and Fraser versus Blade and Enofe. Those two teams would just a 25 to 30 minute tag team match and just let them go crazy because the stuff that those four guys can do in the ring Enofe's moveset is so unique, and he could play so well off Frazier and Axiom. And Blade is just a tough motherfucker in the ring as well. He takes some gnarly bumps, man. So I'd love to see. I'd love to see that going forward. But I think Nathan Fraser and Axiom will win.
We got a super chat donation here from our good brother Will Chisholm once again. He says Booker T did call the OC finisher the Magic Killer to calling it the Magic City. Gotta love Booker. Booker.
Never look too far into what Booker says. Okay, Booker says shit he shouldn't say the whole time. They had Drew Gulak sitting on the sidelines waiting for his contract to expire, knowing he was going to expire, and this man decided still to name drop him during the show when it was very clear that everyone else was ignoring his very existence, and Booker started talking about him. And you can just feel Vic Joseph just going, "Here we go again."
Vic
Every time.
There's certain things where Booker says something and Vic has a slight pause. There's a slight pause, and he's just probably looking at him like, "Why you had to say that?"
Poor Vic, man. I'm not hating on Booker. Like I said, he's not for me all the time, but recently, especially, he's started to chip away at my cynicism about him because he's just funny. He is funny.
I'm sorry. 2 weeks ago, though, him fawning over Sexy Red was too much for me. It was too much for me.
I don't like it. I think it's too much.
That was too much, and
that was Jerry Lawler.
I'm like, you're yeah.
That's what it
felt like. Yeah, we got another super chat donation here from Will Chisholm once again. Will, you're killing it as always. He says, I do love the bit of the OC saying how they don't like how the main roster talent on NXT, knowing they are main roster talent. That is funny. I do like that with their little bits backstage.
The running bit in wrestling in general is that heels are the biggest hypocrites in the goddamn room. That's the whole point of being a heel. I'm sorry, even when Chris Jericho was walking around in a suit calling everyone else hypocrites, he was still the biggest hypocrite in the WWE because he was saying all this, and then his actions would just completely obliterate everything he was saying. That's the whole point of being a heel.
Yeah, Chris Jericho right now. That's what's
Thanks,
making me enjoy the Chris Jericho. Yeah, he's making me enjoy his character again.
I hate it.
I'm trying to help out everybody, but he's being the most annoying person in the world.
Jericho's current gimmick. I said this to someone the other night. I said I hate how fucking much this motherfucker gets me every time. Every time I think he's all right. That's enough. He needs to go away for a while. He needs to really rethink things. Then he just comes up with something so stupid. It's all stupid. I just want to point that out there. Every single time he reinvents himself, some stupid new thing. It's the list. It's the drink it in, man, stuff. None of that stuff is compelling character work. It's just him being Irish word here for you. He's being a freaking gobshite. That's what he's being. He's being a gobshite. And Lucas Sharp.
Let's go.
Lucas, the guy that everyone decided hated or loved, depending on how you.
We love him here.
Yeah, all right, we love him. I said it to him. I said he wanted to know any Irish swear, any Irish phrases or anything like that. I know we're going off on a tangent here. We're an hour in. We've talked about 2 matches. God's sake. We're going to be here all night. But hey, I love being here.
I love that Corey was like, am I talking too much? No, go ahead.
Yeah, I said it in the private chat. Am I talking too much? No. Anyway, I said to Lucas Gobshay, and he was like, oh, so is that and Lucas in his broken English, because obviously he's French, he goes, is that when people have too much shite coming out of their gob? And I was like, that's the perfect reason. And I posted the screenshot and everything because it made me laugh so much. And I can't wait to hang out with that man in Scotland, by the way, because I
actually met him back in 2021. He was in New York for Survivor Series, and I just fell in love with the kid. I was teaching him all sorts of New York slang and New York isms while he was there, and he was having the time of his life.
And he was literally talking to me. He was like, "Oh, what else? What else?" And it's like, and he goes, "I love the word twat." Just out of nowhere, just goes, "I love the word twat." And I was like, "I like you."
It's one of the good ones.
But yeah, I just want to. Jeez, I can't even remember who I was calling a gobshite now.
We were calling Jericho a Jericho.
There we go. We're talking. We're on NXT and I'm talking about AEW. That's Jericho's repackaging in a nutshell. He just acts like a gobshite in different ways. I seen someone say something that made me a little uneasy about it, and it's like I don't know if he's doing self-awareness or he's making fun of autistic people. And when I hated that made me kind of go.
Oh,
I have 2 autistic brothers, okay? So I just want to say that I'm not mocking autistic people, but it makes sense. That's all I'm saying.
It actually does. So I'm going to move on. And if you know
Jericho's wife...
No, we're not going to go there.
We're not... No.
But speaking of which, we are talking about North America. The NXT North American Championship is up for grabs. Opa Femi defends in a triple threat match against Joe Coffey and the returning Wesley. And I know Wesley is the person everybody was thinking of as far as the great workers that are back in NXT. He's going.
No, we were talking about Joe Coffey.
Oh, of course, Gallus, because they're always entertaining. Opa Femi has defended his title in a triple threat at Stand and Deliver. He finds himself in a similar situation after a triple threat match with Wesley, Joe Coffey, and Josh Briggs, where both Lee and Coffey got the victory, pinning Briggs, which set them up as the #1 contenders for this triple threat matchup. I thought we were going to get Oba Femi versus Wesley one-on-one. Maybe they are saving that for another premium live event. They do have Heat Wave, which is going to be in July, so right around the corner in Toronto. But I'm going to go with Oba Femi to retain. What have you thought about the return of Gallus to NXT? They kind of been getting a lot of TV time across the last couple of weeks. What do you think about their return and Wesley's return before you give us who you think is going to win?
I think you can really tell that Gallus earned a lot of respect for how working with The Rock. I think you can really tell that based off how they were positioned bringing them back. See, I've heard quite a bit that they were talking about bringing them up. So when they popped back up on NXT, I was a little surprised, to be honest. But I think realistically, if you want to create a surprising scenario where, I don't know, well, there's a Scottish pay-per-view coming up with a Scottish heel in a main event match. So I think that maybe...
And he needs backup against the Judgment Day.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a very easy scenario where they can just... So I think... You know what? In this match, we said it earlier about TNA. This is what I want to happen in this match. I want Oba to win, but I want Nicky Voice said it. You can highlight what Nicky Voice said. That's what I was about to say.
He says, probably just baked booking on my booking. He loved that term. But I'd die if Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz helped Wes win back the belt. But I'm going to go with Oba Femi.
I want Oba to retain, but I still want the Rascals to show up to even the odds.
I just need a treehouse. I just need them in the treehouse. I need them to go around the treehouse and they'd be like, wait, how'd you get here?
Just something this is the thing, the Rascals can come in and they don't need to touch Oba. That's the thing. Oba can it can come down to Wesley getting distracted, turning around and getting murdered by Oba. Because let's be honest, if there's ever anyone who could take advantage of a minuscule moment of distraction by a hectic things going on, it'd be Wesley turning around into Oba Femi's grasp. Let's be honest, because Oba Femi is just murder personified. I feel like I would like the idea of Wes winning the belt back, but I feel like Wes needs to win belt back in singles. I think Wes needs to chase. I think Wes needs to I think Oba needs to kind of lean in a little bit heel. He's very much been a face. I think Oba, a terrifying face, but a face. Some people would say he's a tweener because he doesn't really act heel or face, but you really want him to be a little bit heel going into a match with Wesley, because Wesley does babyface fighting from the bottom better than probably anyone not named Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
In honesty. Joe Coffey in this match, I think, is there to eat the pin. That's my honest opinion. But I also think that Wes could take the pin. But I would like to see Oba win regardless. he could beat Wes, I think, but if he beats Wes, it needs to be kind of off a distraction. It can't be clean to set up a one-on-one between them. And can I just say, Wesley's recovery is miraculous. I'm sorry, but I have to say that again. We actually talked about it on Sunday Delivery. Like, someone asked me, I think, what Wesley's recovery was, and I was like, not anytime soon. That was that was a genuine, from what I knew at the time. No one told me shit. When I literally asked people close to Wes, like, how is he doing? And they're like, oh, he's not really close, like, that I know of. And I went back to him after he showed up, and they said that they didn't know themselves. This, like, Wes kept how his recovery very privately, and that's fair to him. That's absolutely fair to him. And that created that awesome moment when he returned. And speaking of like I've said it a couple of times, and I was saying it on the Select Q&A. Speaking of people stepping in, or Shawn Michaels stepping in for people, he did it for Wes all the weeks ago. He didn't do the parkour. I don't think Shawn, even on his best day, could do Wesley's parkour. But like, that was, and also Wesley's return, man. Like, I'm sorry, but when he showed up, my initial thought was, is he just here to like ref? Are they going to make him ref, or is he going to be announcer? Is he just going to be here to like talk to Oba and just be like, I'll be back for you? Then he does this, he jumps to the steel steps, and it's very clear that his back is fine. And I was like, yes. Like, and people, and this is the thing as well, people think that when something like that happens, I get really mad, I get shaking with rage. I didn't know. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I'm happy. I love it. I go around to people very happily typing, oh my God, he's back. Can you tell me anything about this, please? That's all I do. That's my job at the end of the day. So if I don't know, that's what I do. And it's exciting to me. And I love doing that as well, because like, it's just like, I get to find out more about it. So like,
yeah, again, I think that's the best part of being in wrestling media, is when you're surprised, and especially with what you do with reporting. Like, that's like the best thing that can happen.
And people are like, oh, he's just annoyed. Like, I was just like, oh, this guy's just annoyed. That's why he's saying this. Every single time I report stuff like this, I get this. But you can see me, as on Tuesday, you can check my Twitter and you can see me going multiple times. I don't think this is actually going to be anything too crazy, guys. I think the source exaggerated to me. This was before the show even ended, because I had a feeling and I had everything that I thought of. So I said that. And then still, when the show ended, guess who got a million fucking quote tweets on that? Oh, it's going to be a crazy show. I don't get to decide what other people tell me. As much as people like to think that comes from WWE, that's just from a production source.
And you guys do such a great job of specifying, this is what one source said to me. Like, you're saying that in the terminology, but all they said, oh, you said it was a crazy show, and it wasn't.
Here's the thing. Here's how my track record works. When I say something is definitively going to happen, it happens. That's it. If I say it's definitive, it's going to happen. But that's why my track record is good. Because if I don't think it's definitely going to happen, I don't report it as such. And that's what I think and this is what a lot of reporters fall into a trap of. They feel like they have to know. If they say they don't know, their followers will think less of them or something. But that's not the case. Sometimes you just have to say that you don't know. And that's something there's like, I'm even in the Q&A that I did earlier for Select. Sorry, I'm plugging it all over the place here. But I said that a bunch of times.
Hey, I'm a part of the team now. I'm officially a part of the team now, so I'm all for it. I always, best $5 in the game.
Now, yeah, you're part of the team now. But yeah, it's just like, and again, I'm just going to round it back to Wesley's return. When he returned, it was such a surprise to me. Like, I asked that day how he was doing, and I was told, yeah, he's doing a lot better than expected, but he's still a little while away. Yeah, and yeah, like, surprised the shit out of me. But hell, I was just happy to see Wes back, and I'm just happy to see Wes straight back into a title picture again. I don't think he should win. I really don't, because he is so easy to like, and that cardiac kick. Oof, need more.
That's the only way I can see him beating Oba Femi, is that.
That's how he should, but it needs to be Oba beating the shit out of him for at least 15 minutes before he does it. And it needs to be like 6 or 7 before Oba goes down. I want you to protect that motherfucker. I don't give a crap. Turn him into what everyone thinks Will Ospreay is. Everyone thinks Will Ospreay doesn't sell. You show those bastards what a no sell is, Oba. You show them. You show Ospreay. Oba goes out and screw it. Off the first cardiac kick, he didn't even do his dance. I'm sorry, and I want to say that as well. I said it on the Sun Liver Show. I'd have to say it again. That entrance could come across so goddamn goofy. Anyone else does it, but when that
He does it with so much charisma.
Yeah,
so much.
when that big ass motherfucker starts shaking his limbs, you know someone's about to die.
Absolutely. Let's get into the one match I'm really looking forward to, because they have a lot of expectations to live up to, because the North American Championship that we just talked about, it was crowned the first champion, Adam Cole, at NXT TakeOver New Orleans back in 2018 in one of the greatest TakeOver NXT matches of all time. And now the Women's North American Championship will be decided at Battleground. You got Michin, Lash Legend, Kalani Jordynne, Jada Parker, Sol Ruka, and Fallon Henley. These women have all won qualifying matches to get into this battle. They also ranked in the top 12 in the NXT Women's Combine. What have you thought about the build and how they did it with the Combine into the qualifying matches? And who do you think is going to become the inaugural champion on Sunday?
I'm just mad that sentient cocaine isn't involved.
Sentient cocaine?
If I have to tell you who that is when you do stuff with Joel, then there's an issue.
No, I realized when you said.
I think that was my biggest gripe with this. I have no problem with anyone who's in the match. I have a problem with who isn't. I think Thea Hale should be in this match. She should have been the first champion. I think, yeah, I agree with Nikki that Sol, I think, is the favorite in this match. And I was asked that earlier as well in the Q&A, and I said the same thing. I think it's Sol's match to lose, but I also think Jada Parker is also kind of a contender. I see, again, other than Michin, I think you could realistically have any of them win, and it'd be, and I think it'd be a solid win because they've done a really good job with who's in it. I just again, like Thea Hale not being on, I think Thea should be on the card anyway. If JC can wrestle with the mask, I think that match should be on this show. I know if you're gonna set that up before the show, I feel like you should have it on the show. I think if she can't go, then you do Jasmine and Thea again, or something, because Thea is easily one of their best baby faces, and easily one of the best actresses on that roster. I'm sorry, but the way she reacted when she realized that Duke and I'm sorry, I'm going off base here again, but I need to get this
Duke and Raleigh,
how good that Thea Hale is. She just like in her facial expressions and the way she started to and you see her, and again, sentient cocaine. She looks in about 7 different directions as she's doing it, but still, like, she's so entertaining. She's so funny, and she's just so likable that it blows my mind. I think she'll probably be in contention for this title soon. Anyway, I think once the JC feud is done, but I feel like the JC feud is going to be to do with Chase U as well. I felt like that Riley and Duke being held back, that they're eventually going to be like, okay, screw Mr. Chase, screw you, we're going to join. And maybe they do this whole thing where JC has her own school and they have their own uniform.
JCU.
They have their own uniform. They have all this and the other. They do more calendars maybe that they definitely shouldn't have been doing when there was sexual assault allegations going on with the company. But hey, they did that anyway. But I'm going to keep going. I really shouldn't be talking about these things like this.
No, it's so true. It's so true. I was like wrong timing, but
back to the ladder match. Back to the ladder match itself. Sol Ruka is probably going to do the craziest thing in the world. I don't know what she's going to do in terms of the Soul Snatcher. It's probably going to look very painful for both her and whoever's taking it, because you bet your ass it's going to be off a ladder onto a ladder in some capacity. I don't know how they can do that without risking Sol breaking her neck, because like at the end of the day, when she does it in the hardest part of the ring. People might say it's the apron. That corner of the ring as well is very painful. And I think that's one part. I think they actually did a good job of changing now that she does it off like in the middle kind of. In the middle rope. She doesn't do it off the corner. So I think Sol is probably the favorite. Jada is probably my second, and if I had to go with a third, I'd say Fallon. But like I said, anyone can win this match, and I think it's the right call even Michin winning would be a good first champion and a good callback to
Yeah.
Keith being North American champion as well. But
She did say that, made that comparison.
yeah, I saw that.
I think that Sol Ruka is going to play the role of Ricochet in this matchup. She's going to be the highlight, the MVP of the match. I don't think she needs to win the match.
That's true.
And I would say that Fallon Henley is a strong contender. It feels like too soon for Jada Parker, even though I really like Jada Parker as well. It just feels too soon to me. Michin, like we both said, she has business on the main roster.
Yeah.
So, and Kalani Jordynne, it also feels like it would be too soon. But I think she's going to be a highlight of the matchup. Yeah. That's why I'm going with the person who's involved in the main storyline, really, on the men's side. I think it's Lash Legend.
I think Lash Legend.
I think Lash Legend wins the NXT Women's North American Championship.
We're gonna
she's my most improved player. I went from hating seeing Lash Legend. When the bell rings, I was like, Lash has so much charisma. Why don't you just make her a manager and stuff like that? That's why I like the position with Metaphor, but she's gotten so much better in the ring. She holds her own, and she was great in the Deadline, the
Iron Survivor. I was about to say match. That was her coming out party as a performer. I feel like everyone knew she was getting there, but then that match for me really told everyone, okay, yeah, she has potential to be like, this is the thing, like the bigger, taller girls in NXT, like Izzy Dame is doing well as well. I want to say that's what she's improving very fast as well. And then when they get to the main roster, like, this is the thing. When you have a tall woman like that, it's very easy to have her slip into a muscle role. Like, at the end of the day, that's the easiest way to get a monster heel over. The muscle first, they turn babyface on the heel, and then they go over. It works. It works every time. I don't think there's been a case ever.
And Sean's an expert at it. He's worked with Diesel,
Exactly. It's just going to be, they're just going to do, like, I don't see Lash ever doing that for anyone. They could have ran it with Chikara, to be honest, if they wanted to. But I think Metaphor was the right call. I really like what Metaphor's doing. I hope that Metaphor don't get too involved in this match. They're probably going to get involved in the main event. I think Gallus might get involved in the main event as well. The main event is a really weird one. And we'll get to that later. Jeez, I keep going off base here. But Lash is someone... Lash would have won the Combine if it was legit. We all know it. Let's be frank here. I said this before. I said this while I was on the post show on NXT for Fightful. It was not real. If you really thought for a second that Combine was real, please think before you say it. Because if you just look at it and you look where the actual athletes are compared to the wrestlers, like Sol Ruka, I'm sure, would have finished high, but I'm sorry, Lash Legend would have been. And they wouldn't do a Combine involved in a vertical jump like that with someone like Thea Hale, who is literally a good, foot and a half shorter than Lash. You think they're going to have a similar...
Wasn't she higher on the ranking?
Thea was one of the highest. I think Thea was second. I think Thea finished second.
I was how is this believable? How is Lash not in the top 3?
But again, back to the Sentia cocaine thing. I want to bring this up. The actual Combine video package. They did I think it was the strength part. It was after Thea jumped and when she landed and she did her whole sentient cocaine bit, and they freeze frame it with power beside it. That's one of my favorite NXT like moments ever, and it's not even anything major. It's just her being her. But yeah, like I said, anyone can win this ladder match, and I'd be happy. I don't think there's anyone in this ladder match that is a bad call. I think if Jada wins, that's the end of OTM. That's OTM. Yes, Joel! Yes, Joel! Sentient cocaine! Yes! It does make you jump higher. It definitely does make you higher. Obviously.
Obvious.
It definitely makes you think you jump higher. I don't know, like, it definitely gives you the energy to jump higher. That being said, if it actually happens, just imagine someone really high on cocaine doing vertical jumps, and then someone beside them just watching them. They're going, "I'm going so high," and it's like literally just the tiniest little jump off the ground ever. That's what I imagine would happen in that scenario. Anyway, no, we're not going to talk about drug use too much because you get demonetized. But I think if Lash wins, I think we could see. You know what? I'm going to make a prediction. Lash gets kicked out with Metaphor.
Ooh.
I think Jakara is going to cost her the match. I think Jakara's going to. I think they're going to, because everything that's been going on feels like that kind of almost that evolution thing of metaphor, kind of like thinking, all right, she cares too much about Trick here, and like I'm gonna bring this up again later, but Trick took that breakup like a champ. Can we just give that man a round of applause?
I would have been pleading with Lash if I was still a single man. I would have been like, come on, we gotta stay this. We could both be champions together.
Took it on the chin. Told her, you got to do what you got to do, Lash. You win that title. Walked away. Not a bit of drama on it. Just absolutely brilliant. Joel does not value the integrity of our NXT champion. Trick Willie does not have that much. Like, okay, no, I'm not going to say that sentence. I'm not going to say. Trick Willie does not have that big of an exception of getting his willy wet. There we go.
Wow. Okay, we got.
Listen, I gotta say some things when I have that vernacular. You guys don't use that word, okay? You guys don't use that word. We use it over here. Gotta be getting in when I'm. Oh no, I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
Will Chisholm with the super chat donation making the save for Corey. He said Randy should talk to Soul Ruka about saving her back. Man, every time she hits the Soul Snatcher, that's what I think. I'm like, damn, that has to be hell on her freaking back.
She's a gymnast first, though. I think people need to remember that. And as opposed to, you know, in AEW, when people do gymnastics, that's bad. But when people in NXT literally are gymnasts, that's great. But anyway, that she knows how to land at the end of the day. Like, even before she started wrestling, she knows how to land and protect her neck, protect her back. So I'm going to trust that she knows she can do this for a long time and still hit the Soul Snatcher. And like I said, she's going to do something absolutely insane tonight. Or not tonight. Sorry, on Sunday.
Sunday night.
Sunday, she's going to do something absolutely crazy. I think Lash is probably going to kill someone with a powerbomb through a ladder. Michin, probably, because she's done it before. I think people forget as well. These kind of matches, a ladder has to break, right? We're all in agreement. A ladder has to break at some point. Michin's the one who's probably got the most experience in that match by far with ladders. She's probably going to eat shit.
She's going to take a power bomb through a ladder bridge from Lash.
Or get pushed off a ladder. I think if we're talking
or she's going to be hung up on the ladder bridge and Jada Parker is going to do the ass thing on her.
The ass thing. The ass thing. Okay, apparently now you're Danhausen.
The springboard ass thing. That's what I call it.
A springboard. She doesn't do a springboard. It'd be more of a, like, I don't know. She runs the rope. She does a springboard. Do you think she
jumps off the bottom rope and then does her ass thing?
Okay, yes, that's fair. But also at the same time, how is she going to do that with a ladder? Hey, do you think the power of her ass is enough to put someone through a ladder?
Yes.
All right. Okay. There you go. That's everyone's quote from this pre-show. SP3 believes that Jada Parker's ass is strong enough to break a ladder. Obviously, it's wrestling, so it'll be gimmicked. So I imagine. But also, if that happens, I'm going to be like Leo in fucking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
But we've been talking about him, so let's talk about the matchup. It's going to be Trick Williams defending the NXT Championship against the newest member of the NXT roster, All Ego Ethan Page, the former AEW Ring of Honor star, is now in NXT, and he worked the system. He got it in his contract when he signed this past Tuesday with general manager Ava for a NXT Championship match in his debut at Battleground. He will face Trick Williams. Is this going to be the triumphant debut of All Ego? Will All Ego become the NXT champion, or will Trick Williams survive this big challenge, his first premium live event title defense of the title since winning it against Ilya Dragunov at Spring Breakin'? I'm going to put my prediction out there. I loved Ethan Page promo work on NXT this week and him talking about how they lost all these people. They need him now. I think that he's a level above, and him and Trick are like a level above everybody else on the mic as far as the main event scene.
Oh, yeah.
I think that this feud is going to continue after Battleground, so I'm going to go with Trick getting the win here, but it sets up Ethan Page winning the NXT Championship in Toronto at Heatwave.
I think, see, here's the thing. Ethan could go into Toronto, and I still don't think he'd be the babyface. Like, to the crowd.
No.
I still don't
No.
think he'd go in as a hometown favorite. I don't think he'd get a lot of cheers because that's just how over Trick is. So, not necessarily that. I think Ethan could bring the title into Toronto. I think he could win at Battleground. I don't know. I really don't know who's winning this match because Trick winning feels like it'd kind of be almost anticlimactic, especially after Ethan's promo, everything that he did to get this match. It'd almost feel like, well, that was for goddamn nothing. He held Ava hostage on the contract, and then he goes and loses. So I feel like they're setting it up for Ethan to win and then Trick to chase him through the summer. So do I think that's what's going to happen? I honestly don't know. I'm going to say Trick wins because I still do think it'd be a bit early for Ethan to win. I agree with you. I think Heatwave would probably be better. But at the same time, I don't think Trick's going up to the main roster yet. I don't think there's really any need to rush him to the main roster. I think, look, I know Dave got a lot of heat for what he said about Trick not being ready, but at the end of the day, I do agree that Trick isn't exactly completely 100% ready for the main roster yet. Is he going to be? Hell yeah, he's going to be.
Yes.
Is he going to be over as hell when he does go up, no matter, even if he goes up now? Hell yeah. Is he going to be a success no matter when he goes up? Hell fucking yeah. It doesn't matter when he goes up. He could go up now, and he's so charismatic that it wouldn't matter that he's not all the way there yet in the ring. I think in the ring is where he kind of is still a little bit behind, but at the same time, he's still really good. And with someone like Ethan, oh my God, that's going to be well done. And I think given these two 20 to 25 minutes to tell their story, I think they could easily outshine what Mello and Trick did in the ring. Now, that's not to say that I think it'd be a better rivalry. No, I think Trick and Mello as a rivalry, as a match is based in that rivalry. Yeah, but in a vacuum, I think absolutely they could put on a match better than what Trick and Mello did.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that the feud outshine the matches with Trick and Mello, and I think that the matches are going to elevate the feud with Trick and Ethan Page because Ethan Page has that experience where he can bring up Trick to another level here with this matchup, and he's a genuine heel that can work against Trick as well, which is very much needed on the NXT brand because it looked like a couple of weeks ago we were going to have a main event of Trick Williams versus Noam Dar, and I love Noam Dar.
Fine. I think that would have been fine.
It would have been good, especially with the other matchup for the NXT Women's Championship. But I feel like this feels like a bigger matchup because of Ethan Page and the buzz that he's got coming over to WWE.
The thing is, Noam kind of looks like a little bit of a goober because they were setting him up for that title match. Like, I love Noam. I think he's freaking hilarious. I think he's brilliant in the ring. He's easily I think he's the most underrated worker in WWE, to be honest. Bell to bell. I genuinely believe that. He is that goddamn good when the bell rings. And when I talk to NXT talent, he's the name that always comes up as just someone that everyone wants to work with because he's just that good. He's that much experience. Like, people think he's just a comedy bit at this point. Like, to WWE fans, that's all they've really seen from him. It's either the Alicia Fox stuff or it's the Metaphor stuff. And I love the Metaphor stuff. I love it. I think everything to do with Metaphor is great. But Noam really... I agree with you as well. I think it's hard to sell Noam challenge for the NXT title while he's still paired up with Metaphor. I don't think he's leaving Metaphor, but I think they are going to try and make them a more serious heel unit. That's why I think that maybe Jakara cost Slash because they've been teasing it. They've been teasing that everyone in Metaphor kind of thinks the Trick is evil.
Yeah.
And not New Japan evil, but just evil.
Hey, that's even worse.
True, exactly. That's exactly. I didn't want to slander my man. I didn't want to slander Trick. But yeah, this match to me, it's really and this storyline to me is really well done. I like that Ethan came in and it wasn't like an immediate, he signed and he's so happy to be here kind of thing. No. That's not his character. It's never been his character. Never would all ego ever just do that. So I love that when they brought him in, they did the small little of oh, I have all the leverage. And Ava constantly, Ava has been an excellent GM. I think
Yeah.
the fact she's still training. I want to point that out, by the way. I don't know if
Okay.
anyone's ever confirmed that. She is still
Yeah.
training. That's not on
Okay.
hold. She is still training. So at some point she is going to wrestle again. And
That's
I
good to
think
hear.
it's very much like this is the thing with the Roxanne stuff. Small little part of me is like, please, for the love of God, do not run that match. Please do not run that match. Even if it's 5 minutes and Roxanne beats the shit out of her, just don't run it. It's so much better having Ava being snarky and like throwing these like apparent like to her are really tough challenges. And if Roxanne keeps winning, I still think that storyline's ending with someone who now has a metal fist. So that's a bit concerning for Roxanne. So I think that's going to be I do want to say this. A lot of people have been asking me, do they think Julia is going to be on this show? And we'll talk about that a bit more after. So I'm just saying that now. I'm not going to talk about it now, but I do want to say I do want to talk about that after. But I think we'll know if Julia is going to show up based on the match order. Yes. Whether she's going to either be there, whether it's going to be a video like Nakamura, whether it's going to be just an announcement from Ava. I think depending on who main events this show is dependent on if Julia is going to be mentioned at all. Because
and I wanted to mention something when we get into the next matchup, because there's a reason why I'm talking about this matchup last, and it's because WWE.com has that at the top position. Yeah. Has that at the main event spot.
I saw that earlier, to be honest, and I wanted to mention it as well. So we'll talk about that more after. But for the men's match, the NXT title match, I think it's going to be. I think it could be overbooked as hell, to be honest. I think we're going to see a ref bump at least. I think we're going to see at least one ref bump, because you've got to have Gallus, you've got to have Metaphor, you have to imagine that Ethan Page has some backup in some capacity, because he used to be in TNA. Just remember that. I think people need to remember that Ethan Page is coming in with a slightly invader gimmick. It's not very blatant. It's not like that, but there's a little bit of a tone of an invasion to it.
He very much feels like a mix, a cross between Kevin Owens in NXT and Bobby Roode in NXT.
Yes, he's coming in feeling like an invading talent. More so than Jordynne is, to be honest. Jordynne, you get the sense that there's definitely a working relationship going on there, because Jordynne's all friendly and all like, oh, I love this place. Everyone's so nice. And then she runs into Tate and Paxley backstage and she really, really thinks that. But I think that this match could be really overbooked. And depending on how it goes down, it could either help the match or it could ruin it. That's not to say people involved.
I am one person that I was very adamant about the Trick and Mello match at Stand and Deliver did not need as many ref blunts as they did. That was no reason for all those ref blunts, and I felt like the booking hurt the matchup. So I'm hoping that the booking will help the matchup with this one.
See, the thing is, Ethan's also a very good babyface, so we know that. Very good, passionate babyface. So you could even do a turn for Page at the show where Gallus attack and they attack both of them. And then you have maybe going into Toronto, you have maybe, I don't know, if Gallus don't go up to the main roster, maybe you could run maybe a Trick and Ethan team up match. And then later in the show, have them face for the title. And then you have that again where the two of them come again and again, they're facing each other, but there's a reason why. Ethan's earned his respect, so then you have a reason to continue the feud. Because like you said, I really do not think this is a one and done. I think it would be a mistake to have this be a one and done. Their chemistry on the mic on Tuesday was very clear. Ethan was very, very good on the mic with Trick. He did a good job of dressing Trick down without actually insulting him or insulting his NXT title reign or anything he's done. It's more he's insulting him based off what's gonna happen. And I think that's a great skill to have as a heel. And Ethan Page does it, I think, better than a lot of people give him credit for. Because nothing he said could make you think, oh, he's looking down on Trick or the NXT title. He's bigging himself up. And I think a lot of heels don't do that enough. Where it's not that they think that someone's bad, it's just that they think they're just that damn good. And when someone like Will Ospreay says that as a babyface, you can't exactly dispute it, can you? Like he is that good, so that's not a heel thing for him to say, but for Ethan to say it and to over exaggerate his accomplishments and so on like that, he can sell that and piss people off with that. And I think that's so. Again, I said that he could turn babyface. He could also stay heel and keep this feud going, but they just need to give a compelling reason why they're rematching, and a compelling reason why Noam Dar has been tossed to the side.
We do need that. We do need an explanation there.
Triple threat in a heat wave. Noam pins Ethan, or Ethan pins Noam. That's a possibility as well.
We got a super chat donation once again from Will Chisholm. Will says, I do love how the NXT talent got to no-sell that the final boss is Ava's dad. Yes, they haven't mentioned that, and I like that. I like that because that probably is the reason why Ava got the way through to that position, and it's no coincidence that Paul Heyman met with her.
Roxanne will bring it up. At some point, Roxanne will bring it up just once. It'll be once. It'll be this big line, and Ava will lit that. I think that could be the trigger. Actually, that could be the trigger to Ava turning around. All right, you asked for it. Here's Julia. Goodbye. Have fun. You're dead.
You Nepo baby. Here's Julia to punch you with her metal fist.
Yeah.
Will Chisholm with another super chat donation, and he says, I can tell that Ava is training because her arms are jacked. Yeah.
Good point. You can tell she's lifting still, especially. You can tell she's still lifting because Jesus. Like, that's the thing. Like, she used to be a lot smaller. I will say that. She used to be a lot smaller when she was wrestling even. And now, like, you just see, like, you see her sitting next to Ethan. You're like, why does Ava have bigger arms than Ethan? Like, I said that to myself. I was sitting there at 3 a.m. and 3 a.m. brain just went on and was like, why are Ava's arms bigger than Ethan? They are?
Gotta zoom in, gotta go close to the TV.
Zoom in hands. Get Pat's telestrator up here and fucking check.
Let's talk about it because, like I said, this has the top position on WWE.com. So we're going to talk about it last. NXT Women's Championship up for grabs. Roxanne Perez defends against TNA's own top star and knockouts world champion Jordynne Grace. The big surprise on the May 28th episode of NXT. She was introduced as Roxanne's opponent by Ava. We saw her debut on the NXT brand this past Tuesday, getting a win over Stevie Turner. And this is all a part of the NXTNA partnership relationship that Shawn Michaels says that we're going to get a lot of exciting announcements to come, a lot of shakeups in crossovers in this partnership, but it all starts here at Battleground. Do you think Roxanne can defend the title against TNA's top star, or will Jordynne Grace become a double champion on Sunday night? And what have you thought about the NXTNA partnership so far?
Look, everyone's so goddamn negative about this. Like, we get it. Yeah, WWE aren't going to be fair to TNA. Like, no one thinks that they're going to be completely 100% fair here. WWE will never be, even though it's Triple H, even though it's Shawn Michaels. Yeah, we get it. Like, I'm sorry, there's going to be a certain amount of like seesawing over which company is going to be the bigger one, and they've very clearly shown that with how Jordynne's been presented. But Jordynne's enjoying it. Jordynne's happy with it. Jordynne's loving every second of it. She said it in the interview with Fightful. She said it on TV. She's smiling. She's happy. She's loving every second of it. And if TNA are happy with that, why do you as a fan care? Why do you care? I'm sorry. I have to care because I have to look into it and I have to make sure that everyone's actually okay with it. But as a fan, you should not give a crap. You should be happy about the cool matches that you're going to see. It's the same thing with Forbidden Door, where people are like, oh, AEW are just taking everything from New Japan. You as a fan, why do you care? I get it. At a certain point, it does get to be too much. There is too much to it. There's stuff to complain about, and booking wise, if that's okay. But when Jordynne's only been on NXT twice, she's been on it twice. We have no idea what's going to happen against all odds. Okay, we've no idea. That's what we're expecting. An NXT star against all odds. But when you have so many people in TNA and NXT and in WWE in general who have worked together before, our former co-workers have worked together in both companies, why not do NXTNA? Why not? There's no reason not to do it. TNA isn't a threat to WWE. WWE clearly don't feel threatened by TNA. So do it. This kind of stuff is good, is cool. It's cool to see. Even if you don't like TNA now, even everyone at some point in their lives, well, everyone my age anyway, because I'm 25 and people keep forgetting that, but everyone at my age has watched TNA at some point, has gone through a run where they watched TNA. Even when it was AJ, when it was Joe, when it was Angle, when it was all them guys, you watched it. And now Jordynne has been practically the female face of that company for the last however long. She looks like a million goddamn bucks every time. Like, people talk about Jade Cargill's physique. Then you look at Jordynne Grace and you're like, God damn, like some of these women look like they're in 10 times better shape than some of the men. Like,
Absolutely.
And you can literally, you could go top 5 physiques in wrestling right now. Jordynne and Jade would be amongst the top 5, and I don't think that's exaggerating. So, and on top of that, Jordynne's really good at this whole wrestling thing as well. So, and Roxanne is so creative when she's the one, obviously she's always the smaller one during, because she's goddamn tiny. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with. Because Roxanne's been not afraid to bump in like ridiculous ways, even as a baby face. So I can't imagine what she's going to do when when Jordynne decides to just, I want to see a pounce. I don't care. I want to see a pounce. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with it, how much, if Jordynne has used it before, but just even off the shove that she gave her on Tuesday, and Roxanne just went flying. I just want to see how far Jordynne can pounce Roxanne, because I would pop so hard for a good pounce. I think Roxanne wins. I think Roxanne wins easily. Or not easily. Not easily. Okay, let me... For chances of winning, I think Roxanne is a good, it's a good 90 to 95% Roxanne wins. But there's that small 5% chance that Jordynne wins and Roxanne takes it back at against all odds. That's the only scenario where I see Jordynne winning, and she's not going to hold it for long, because they want that Julia match. They want it for the NXT Women's title. They want to really show how good Julia is, and Roxanne's the person to do it with. So, yes, I know I'm talking about stuff based off reporting, and people hate that, and people just want me to talk about the show and the canon of the show. I can't do that, okay? If I can't fucking watch the show without it, you can't. So suck it up. Anyway.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but the reason why I am going to go in the opposite direction is the fact that WWE.com has this in the main event spot. Like, if you put this in the main event, Jordynne Grace is going to win. Like, I feel like Jordynne Grace has to win. I feel she has to win.
But that's my argument to you. This is my point. If they're in the main event and Roxanne wins, what better way to go off the air? Like, they could even do the copyright stuff. Roxanne on with the screen behind her, and Julia can speak English well. We all know how well Julia can speak English. So I'd love to see Julia go, hello, Roxanne, I'm here, because Roxanne's acting as well. That's something I want to say as well. Her acting as a heel has been great. So I would love to see that reaction of her kind of going, oh shit.
I went over one obstacle, and now I got an even bigger one ahead of me. I need me.
That's the thing, and I think that they're being very obvious about the fact that they're building up to Ava going, right, you pissed me off enough, okay? You've been talking all this shit. I feel like that's what Jordynne was. I think like Ava coming out and just like being like Ava's just done with Roxanne at this point, and I love it. But at the same time, I also want to see Cora come back as well, and the Mean Girls duo terrorize Ava as NXT GM, because they would be brilliant together. Because we all know
have Cora win the women's North American title, and they're both champions. Ooh, that would be That would be cool. But
And then
I'm gonna go against the odds, and I'm gonna go with Jordynne Grace. I do want to correct Ace Shock.
Against all
Moose
odds.
is not second. Moose is not second place. I'm sorry.
No.
Even though he's TNA World Champion,
No.
Josh Alexander
Yeah.
is ahead of him.
Josh Alexander is everything TNA is. Like, I'm sorry, but like that man is just, he bleeds TNA. I don't think Moose does. I think Moose bleeds whatever the. I'm not even going to say what I'm going to say about Moose.
I mean, Moose is. Jordynne already admitted that Moose is already like, hey, tell Sean I want to be over there. Tell Sean I'll take the call.
Do you know what though? Gresham wouldn't be bad.
That would be cool.
Like, if you're doing Jordynne, you may as well do Gresham. Like, but
and Gresham's with this new gimmick would fit in very well on NXT.
Yeah, definitely.
Yo, I had such a great time talking this show with you, brother. I'm putting it out there right now. You're getting a call for Heatwave. You're getting a call for any of the NXT shows.
No problem,
I need to have these monthly talks with you ahead of these NXT because this was a lot of fun.
It was, man. I had so much fun, man. Honestly, I wanted to do more shows like this, and just because when I do the NXT post show, I'm only talking about news. I don't get to talk about the product. I don't get to shit on people. I don't get to just say my opinions on stuff. So when I do get the chance like this, I do go a little bit over the top. But like at the same time, I'm just happy to do stuff like this. And you're a great man to be doing it and bounce off, man. So I do appreciate you inviting me, and I'll definitely be here. Anytime you want to do anything to do with NXT, man, just shoot me a message because I love doing this shit.
For sure. You guys got to follow Corey and see all of his great work over at Fightful Select. But the floor is yours. Let everybody know where they can follow you and when they'll see you again.
As you guys can see, my @ is right below at Corey Brennan FF. You can subscribe to Fightful Select with a lot of news, guys. A lot of NXT news, a lot of British British wrestling news, and Irish wrestling news. Before SB3 tries to say the same thing,
It is, but go ahead.
And yeah, guys, there's probably going to be a lot of stuff to do with Battleground on Fightful Select, so make sure to keep up with that. Obviously, with everything going on with this whole secrecy crap, I'm going to be my work cut out for me. But anything I know, you guys will know on Sunday. And yeah, this is going to be a really fun pay-per-view. And enjoy. Oh, crap.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, sir. It is a premium live event. There's a difference.
Bully's gonna... I gotta leave the country. Bully's gonna hunt me down and kill me because I said the wrong word.
You can't say the wrong terminology.
Listen. Swerve said it, and I'll just be like, if Bully ever like said that to me, I'd just be like, I'd literally just send him the clip of Swerve, absolutely, just sunning in his ass. That's just what I'd send. I'd be like, it's pay-per-view, Bully. One of us, bitch.
I did miss this super chat donation from the good brother Tyrone Kidd, who says, "So I'm late, but is Lola Shayna just NXT Footloose?" In a way, I guess we're not going to see the spin.
NXT
Stomp the yard. NXT Stomp the Yard. Stomp the underground.
NXT Dance. Wait, no, wait, is that the movie? Is that the
Yes, with Julia Stiles?
Yes,
Julia Stiles. When she learns how to hood dance.
Before we go, we gotta think in tribute to Sour Graphs, we gotta think of a couple of dancing puns for these two. And it's just really quickly before we go off.
I am not good at the pun game. I am no Kate. I am no Alex.
No, just let's just name premium live events. I said the right
NXT
Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, I think we
named in a corner.
NXT Greece.
Oh my
Tony
God.
D'Angelo would fit in.
Tony D'Angelo, man. Tony D, just dressed up like John Travolta with a wig and everything. Oh man. Oh my God, no. Before we go, okay, I need to talk about Charlie Dempsey. About Charlie Dempsey.
Capiche.
You talking to me? You talking to me? Are you not listening to me?
You're talking to
says
me?
to the partially deaf man. When he said, "Are you not listening to me?" to Miles, I genuinely went like, "Oh my God, is he actually saying this to a partially deaf man?" And Miles going, "I'm trying my best, Charles." Just absolutely killed me. And then David, "I'm right here. I've been here for 5 minutes."
You've been here the whole time.
That entire segment has this entire storyline from the moment that he started working with Tony and the family, and ever since basically Gulak fucked off, basically, Charlie and the rest of the No Quarter Catch crew have been some of my favorites. Just a comedy, and you can tell so much that Charlie's just going, "Dad, needed some help with this comedy." Because it's Regal to a T, man.
Yes.
I half expect him. I half expect the video of Regal like dancing with the hat on his back and just going the jazz hands everywhere. I'm half expecting Damon and Miles to walk into a room and he's just sitting there doing that And
that's nice. You just gave them the idea. You just gave it to them. You can follow me.
I'll be sending an invoice if that pops up on TV. You best believe. After all the shit these pricks have been doing, I mean sending my invoice to Sean.
You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at TrueHillHeat. Like I said, patreon.com/TrueHillHeat. That's $3 a month. Patreon.com/Fightful Select. That's $5 a month. Best $8 you can spend in the wrestling media game.
You trying to undercut us, man? Is that what you're trying
to
do?
Yeah. Undercut price. Y'all give them a little bit more. We only giving them like one, 2 things a week, So y'all deserve the extra $2. We ain't giving them $5 worth.
Two people who, technically speaking, work for Fightful, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Hey, I'm promoting everything right now, but yes, go over and check it out. We got a bunch of re-uploads that's going to be dropping tomorrow here on the channel. Our Double or Nothing
the ones
review.
Didn't delete.
Yes. No. Thankfully, our editor got the video for those before I deleted it. So thank you, baby Seth. And of course, we will be back live 11:05 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday, a Sunday edition of the Flagship Podcast. Myself and Miss Chrissy Love talking about this week in wrestling. So join us for that. But thank you so much to Corey Brennan. Thank you so much to everyone in the chat, all the super chat donations. We appreciate it. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. And this has been our NXT Battleground preview. We are signing off until next time. Later, y'all.
See you guys.